Let's turn to LBC News US correspondent Simon Marks for the latest on this. This does feel like a bit of a bombshell.
Well, I think it is a bombshell, very much so, John. As Emily was saying there, this is deeply, deeply inconvenient to President Donald Trump, who keeps saying that the Epstein issue is a dead issue, that there's nothing to talk about, it shouldn't even be being brought up. Well, the reality is that the Epstein situation is a smouldering depth charge beneath his very government. We've seen an instant reaction to the release of these emails from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. She's due to be briefing the press in about an hour's time, so that's going to be a sparky encounter. But she has already said in a statement the Democrats selectively leaked emails to the liberal media to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump. I mean, they didn't leak emails to the liberal media. They have released emails to members of the public. She goes on to say that the release of the emails was a hoax. She says these stories are nothing more than bad faith efforts to distract from President Trump's historic accomplishments. Any American with common sense sees right through this hoax and clear distraction from the government opening back up again. Now, it's perfectly possible that the timing of the release of these documents by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee is indeed to cause maximum discomfort to President Trump at precisely the moment that he wants to point out that the Democrats themselves have crossed party lines, 8 of them, to end the longest shutdown in U.S. government history. But these documents are pretty devastating for President Trump because they make it clear, and we should underscore, we haven't seen the full context in which these emails were being exchanged, but it seems pretty clear that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell certainly spoke to one another about the dog that hadn't barked, and that being revelations pertaining to Donald Trump's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, and at least one event during which, according to the two of them, Donald Trump spent hours in the company of one alleged victim of abuse trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's certainly going to be extremely problematic reading for the White House. It also underscores the view of many supporters within Donald Trump's own Make America Great Again movement that there is a cover-up taking place at the White House and at the President's Department of Justice by his Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Remember that back in February, Pam Bondi said that the Epstein client list, a trove of documents, was on her desk. It was awaiting her review, and then she'd release them to the public. Well, that release never occurred. Back in July, several months later, the Department of Justice suddenly announced there were no documents. They didn't exist. So what were those documents that were on her desk back in February? There's never been a satisfactory answer offered to that question. So for Donald Trump, the real problem here is actually not with the Democrats. The real problem is with supporters of his MAGA movement who want transparency over this, who now have a standard bearer in the form of Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's making it clear that she plans to run for the presidential nomination of the Republican Party in 2028. She is demanding the release of all documents that are in the White House possession pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein, and the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee are about to have the power to, once the government gets reopened, to pass a resolution legally requiring the White House to release all of those documents, because they'll secure the support of some of those MAGA Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene who want the documents put into the public domain. So this is not going away, much as the White House wants to try and head that vote off. This is not going away. And there are fresh questions arising in all of this as well, of course, for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And we don't know whether the House Oversight Committee has got more documents that directly pertain to him, but certainly there are areas in these documents where Andrew's name appears to be mentioned directly at one point in an exchange with the now disgraced former ambassador to the United States, Lord Peter Mandelson, who thanks Jeffrey Epstein for suggesting that he should stay away today from Andrew, but there are also other areas in the documents where someone referred to as the Duke is involved in contributing to this email exchange, but it is redacted, so we can't exactly see the identity of the author of those emails. So big questions mounting for Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. Absolutely enormous questions today for Donald Trump. It's evident from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary's first response to this, that they're going to accuse the Democrats of launching a hoax. They have previously said that any documents that were going to emerge were going to be fabricated. Literally concocted by Democrats. That's one claim that President Trump has previously voiced. But he is in an increasingly sticky position, John. And, this just underscores at the end of a week in which he's been dealing with the government shutdown. He's, of course, launched that threat to sue the BBC in Florida for $1 billion. Those things are sort of temporary moments in the Trump presidency. The Epstein scandal is a percussive drumbeat that just is not going away.
It is going to be interesting to see what happens at that press briefing, isn't it, in about an hour's time. Simon Marks, LBC News, US correspondent in Washington, D.C., thank you very much.